You think fancy desserts required hours in the kitchen? Think again. Black mothers in the 1960s mastered the art of sweet satisfaction with barely 5 minutes and whatever sat in the pantry. Let's dig into 30 easy desserts black mothers whipped up in the 1960s. Vanilla wafer banana pudding cups were the dessert that appeared at church suppers, family reunions, and Sunday dinners without fail. Black mothers layered vanilla wafers with sliced bananas and instant vanilla pudding in small cups or glasses, creating individual servings that looked fancy but took almost no time. The pudding was mixed with cold milk and whisked until thick, then spooned over the wafers while children waited impatiently for their share. As the dessert sat, the wafers softened and absorbed the creamy pudding, creating a texture that melted on the tongue. Mothers made these in assembly line fashion, filling a dozen cups in minutes while dinner finished cooking. The combination of sweet vanilla, fresh banana, and tender cookie satisfied every craving without heating up the kitchen. Jello with fruit cocktail was the jewel-toned dessert that sparkled on tables across black households throughout the 1960s. Mothers dissolved bright red, orange, or green gelatin powder in hot water, stirred in cold, then folded in canned fruit cocktail before chilling. The result was a wobbly, sweet treat that children found endlessly fascinating, watching the suspended fruit pieces float in the colorful gel. It required no cooking beyond boiling water and could be made the night before, freeing mothers for other tasks. The dessert appeared at potlucks in decorative molds, at home in simple bowls, and always drew smiles from children who loved this bouncy texture. Fruit cocktail stretched the dessert further, making one box of Jello feed the whole family with fruit in every spoonful. Graham cracker sandwiches were the secret weapon of busy mothers who needed something sweet in seconds flat. 2 graham cracker squares sandwiched a thick layer of frosting, peanut butter, or sweetened cream cheese, creating a handheld treat that satisfied without any cooking. Children came home from school to find these waiting on kitchen counters, the simple combination somehow tasting better than anything store-bought. Mothers kept graham crackers in the pantry specifically for these quick desserts, knowing they could assemble a batch while doing other tasks. The crackers provided just enough crunch against the creamy filling, and the whole thing could be eaten without plates or forks. Some mothers added chocolate drizzle or cinnamon to make them feel special. Instant chocolate pudding revolutionized weeknight desserts in black households during the 1960s, transforming 3 minutes of whisking into creamy satisfaction. Mothers poured the powder into cold milk, beat it with a hand mixer or whisk until thick, then spooned it into cups for eager children. Poured into flaky crust and baked until the top developed a slight sheen. Unlike pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie carried a richer, earthier sweetness that felt like home itself. The first slice always went to the eldest family member, a sign of respect children learned without being told. Mothers made multiple pies, knowing one would never be enough when relatives arrived. Sweet potato pie was served cold for breakfast the next morning with coffee, stretching celebrations into quiet, intimate moments. It was heritage baked into every golden slice. Molasses pulled taffy was one of the most anticipated Christmas traditions in black households during the 1950s, turning candy making into a family event. Mothers boiled molasses with sugar and butter until the mixture reached hardball stage, then poured it onto greased platters to cool. Once firm enough, family members buttered their hands and began pulling, stretching and folding repeatedly until the taffy lightened and developed a glossy sheen. Children loved this part, laughing as sticky candy resisted before surrendering into smooth ropes. The pulling took 20 minutes or more, strengthening both candy and family bonds. Finished taffy was cut into pieces and wrapped in wax paper. The flavor was deep and bold, with molasses providing earthy sweetness. This was Christmas tradition made by hand. 7-Up pound cake became a beloved Christmas treat in Black households during the 1950s, using lemon-lime soda to create an exceptionally moist and tender cake. Mothers creamed butter and sugar until fluffy, added eggs one at a time, then folded in flour and fizzy soda that gave the cake its signature lightness. The carbonation created tiny air pockets, resulting in texture softer than traditional pound cake. Baked in bundt or tube pans, the cake emerged golden brown with fine crumb that held together beautifully when sliced. Some mothers added lemon zest or drizzled simple glaze over the top. The cake appeared at Christmas gatherings, church socials, and family dinners, often with fresh whipped cream. 7-Up pound cake represented the ingenuity of Black cooks who transformed convenience into tradition. Lane cake was the showstopper dessert Black mothers reserved for Christmas during the 1950s, a towering creation requiring skill and patience. White cake layers were baked light and tender, then filled with a mixture of egg yolks, sugar, butter, raisins, coconut, and pecans, often spiked with bourbon for warmth. The filling was cooked until thickened, then spread generously between layers. Fluffy white frosting covered the exterior, hiding decadent treasure within. The first bite revealed boozy, fruity filling that made Lane cake legendary. Mothers began preparing days ahead, soaking raisins and gathering ingredients. The cake sat under glass domes, admired before serving to honored guests. Children received small slices due to bourbon content. Lane cake was Christmas luxury and Black Southern baking at its finest. Boiled custard was the Christmas drink that filled punch bowls in Black households during the 1950s, a rich beverage warming body and spirit. Mothers slowly heated milk with sugar, then tempered beaten egg yolks into the mixture, stirring constantly over low heat until it thickened enough to coat a spoon. Vanilla extract was added generously, and some families included bourbon for adult gatherings. The custard was chilled until cold, then served in small glasses, sometimes with nutmeg on top. Children loved its sweetness, while adults appreciated its richness. Boiled custard was passed around at Christmas Eve gatherings, poured for visitors who stopped by, and sipped quietly by mothers who finally sat down after hours of cooking. It was comfort in liquid form, a tradition that made Christmas feel complete. Dark fruit cake was the Christmas tradition Black mothers started preparing weeks before the holiday arrived during the 1950s, soaking dried fruits in bourbon until they plumped with boozy sweetness. The batter was dense with molasses, brown sugar, and warm spices, folded thick with candied cherries, citron, raisins, and pecans. Baked low and slow in loaf pans lined with brown paper, cakes emerged dark as mahogany and fragrant with spice. Mothers wrapped them in cheesecloth soaked in spirits, storing them in tins where they aged until Christmas. The cakes were sliced thin and served on crystal plates. Some families passed the same recipe through 4 generations, each mother adding subtle touches. Fruitcake was not universally loved, but in homes where it was made with care, it was treasured. Divinity candy was the delicate Christmas confection Black mothers attempted only when humidity was low, knowing moisture could ruin an entire batch. Sugar, corn syrup, and water were boiled to hardball stage, then slowly poured into stiffly beaten egg whites while mixing constantly until candy lost its shine and held its shape. Pecans were folded in, and spoonfuls dropped onto wax paper, where they set into cloud-like mounds dissolving on the tongue. The process required perfect timing and steady hands. Failed batches were lessons in patience. When Divinity turned out right, it was pure magic, white and fluffy with intense sweetness. Mothers arranged candies on platters for gatherings or packed them into gift boxes for neighbors. Divinity represented the skill of Black cooks mastering temperamental recipes. Date nut balls were the no-bake Christmas confection black mothers rolled by the dozens during the 1950s, filling cookie tins with sticky sweet treats requiring no oven. Chopped dates were cooked with butter and sugar until soft, then mixed with crispy rice cereal and pecans. While warm, the mixture was rolled into small balls and coated in powdered sugar or coconut. The result was chewy, nutty, and sweet. Children loved helping roll them, small hands perfect for shaping warm mixture. Date nut balls appeared on holiday platters alongside fancier cookies, holding their own with humble ingredients. They kept well in tins, ideal for gifts or unexpected guests. The combination of dates and pecans felt indulgent despite simple preparation. Date nut balls proved Christmas treats did not require complicated techniques. SevenUp brittle was the Christmas candy that filled black kitchens with the smell of caramelizing sugar and roasting peanuts during the 1950s. Mothers cooked sugar, corn syrup, and water to hard crack stage, then stirred in raw peanuts that toasted right in the hot syrup. Baking soda was added at the end, creating signature honeycomb texture as it foamed. The mixture was poured quickly on the greased sheets and spread thin before hardening. Once cooled, it shattered into golden shards that snapped between teeth. Children watched with fascination, knowing timing was everything. Too early and brittle stayed chewy, too late and it burned. Peanut brittle was packed into tins for neighbors, brought to church gatherings and hidden until Christmas morning. It was sugar and nuts transformed into magic through heat and patience. Socket to me cake became a Christmas favorite in black households during the late 1950s. A coffee cake swirled with cinnamon and pecans that emerged tender and fragrant. The batter was rich with sour cream, giving moisture that lasted for days. A ribbon of brown sugar, cinnamon, and pecans ran through the center, creating sweet surprise in every slice. Baked in a bundt pan for elegant shape, then drizzled with simple glaze pooling in ridges. Mothers served it for Christmas morning breakfast with coffee, or as lighter dessert after heavy meals. The name brought smiles, and the taste delivered. Socket to me cake was fancy enough for company, but simple enough for every day. It represented creativity of black cooks who turned boxed mixes into something special with clever additions. Japanese fruit cake was the mysterious Christmas dessert appearing in black southern homes during the 1950s, despite having nothing to do with Japan. The cake featured alternating layers of white and spice cake filled with coconut and raisin filling cooked thick. Some versions included nuts or candied fruit. Layers were stacked high and covered with fluffy white frosting, creating dramatic presentation when sliced. The name came from exotic appeal of foreign things during earlier decades. Mothers who made it often learned from their own mothers. Recipes varied by family, some adding lemon to filling. Japanese fruit cake was reserved for Christmas dinner, sitting proudly on sideboards until dessert. It was tradition wrapped in mystery, a cake whose origins mattered less than its place at the table. Homemade eggnog was the rich Christmas drink black mothers prepared fresh during the 1950s, whisking eggs and sugar into cream until pale and thick. Raw eggs were beaten with sugar until ribbons formed, then heavy cream and milk slowly incorporated. Vanilla and nutmeg provided warmth, and bourbon was added for adult versions, kept separate from children's. The eggnog was chilled and served in small glasses, each portion rich enough to satisfy. Unlike store-bought, homemade had silky texture and fresh flavor that could not be replicated. Mothers made it Christmas Eve, letting it chill overnight so flavors melded. It was sipped slowly while presents were opened or guests arrived. Homemade eggnog represented willingness to take extra time during holidays, creating something special rather than settling for convenience. Coconut layer cake was the towering white Christmas dessert gracing black holiday tables during the 1950s, its snowy exterior announcing celebration. Tender white cake layers were filled and frosted with fluffy 7-minute frosting, then covered in sweetened shredded coconut clinging to every surface. The coconut was sometimes toasted, though most mothers preferred it white as snow. Fresh coconut was occasionally grated by hand, adding moisture. The cake was assembled carefully, each layer positioned just right before coconut was pressed into frosting. Children helped by patting coconut onto sides. Coconut layer cake sat under glass domes, admired before serving. The combination of tender cake, sweet frosting, and chewy coconut created texture unlike any other. It was Christmas elegance made at home by patient hands. Pecan pie was the Christmas dessert showcasing Southern bounty on Black holiday tables during the 1950s. Glossy filling studded with nuts from backyard trees. The filling was simple but rich, made from eggs, sugar, corn syrup, butter, and vanilla, poured over pecan halves and unbaked crusts. As it baked, filling set into custardy layer beneath, while pecans rose to form a golden crown. Sweetness was intense, but balanced by buttery, slightly bitter pecans. Mothers often made multiple pies, knowing one would disappear before dinner. Pecan pie was served in thin slices due to richness, sometimes with whipped cream. The nuts were often gathered by children who competed to fill buckets each fall. Pecan pie connected Christmas to the land, celebrating what the South provided. It was abundance made visible. German chocolate cake became a Christmas favorite in Black households during the 1950s. Layers of chocolate cake topped with distinctive coconut pecan frosting. The cake itself was tender and mildly chocolate, made with sweet baking chocolate rather than cocoa. The frosting was the star, a cooked mixture of evaporated milk, sugar, egg yolks, butter, vanilla, and generous coconut and pecans. It was spread thick between layers and on top, leaving sides bare to show dark chocolate beneath. The combination of textures was irresistible. Mothers who mastered the frosting, knowing when to stop cooking so it stayed spreadable, earned reputations at church gatherings and reunions. German chocolate cake required effort but delivered results, making the work worthwhile. It was celebration baked into every layer. Sputter pound cake was the foundation of Christmas baking in Black households during the 1950s. Dense and golden, needing nothing more than powdered sugar. The original recipe called for a pound each of butter, sugar, eggs, and flour, though mothers adjusted proportions. Butter was creamed until light. Eggs added one at a time. Flour folded gently to keep texture tender. Vanilla was essential. Some added almond extract for depth. The cake baked slowly until a crust formed on top, while interior stayed moist. Butter pound cake was sliced thin and served with coffee, topped with fruit and cream, or eaten plain at any hour. It kept for days, improving as it rested. The cake represented mastery of basics, proof that simple ingredients handled with skill created something extraordinary. It was Christmas in every buttery bite. Bread pudding with bourbon sauce was the Christmas dessert, transforming stale bread into something magnificent in Black households during the 1950s. Day-old bread was cubed and soaked in custard of eggs, milk, sugar, and vanilla until softened. Raisins were scattered throughout, and the mixture baked until top turned golden and center set firm, but still trembled. The bourbon sauce was poured warm over each serving, a rich blend of butter, sugar, and bourbon soaking into every crevice. The combination of humble bread, elevated by rich custard and boozy sauce, was pure Southern indulgence. Mothers made it when loaves went stale, turning potential waste into anticipated dessert. Served warm, the sauce pooling on plates. Bread pudding represented resourcefulness of Black cooks, creating celebration from everyday ingredients. Peppermint stick candy was the homemade Christmas confection Black mothers pulled and twisted during the 1950s, filling jars with red and white striped treats. Sugar, water, and corn syrup were boiled to hard crack stage, then divided. Half was colored red, while the other stayed white. Both were flavored with peppermint oil. While still warm, the candy was pulled until glossy. Then red and white ropes were twisted together into spiraling sticks. The process required quick hands and patience. Children watched with wonder as plain sugar transformed into festive candy. Peppermint sticks were tucked into stockings, stirred into hot cocoa, or enjoyed as treats. Store-bought candy canes existed, but homemade carried special meaning. Peppermint stick candy represented the extra effort mothers made to create Christmas magic. Gingerbread cake was the spiced Christmas dessert that filled Black kitchens with the smell of molasses, ginger, and cinnamon during the 1950s. The batter was dark and rich, made with molasses that gave deep color and complex sweetness. Ginger, cinnamon, and cloves created warmth that lingered on the tongue. The cake baked until firm but moist inside, its top cracking slightly as it rose. Mothers served it warm with lemon sauce, whipped cream, or powdered sugar. The texture was dense but tender, each slice holding together when cut. Children loved the spicy sweetness, while adults appreciated how molasses stretched sugar supplies. Gingerbread cake appeared throughout December, a constant presence making homes smell like Christmas. It was comfort baked into dark, fragrant squares that warmed from the inside out. Sugar cookies with royal icing were the decorated Christmas treats Black mothers made during the 1950s, turning simple dough into edible art. Cookie dough was rolled thin and cut into shapes: stars, trees, bells, and angels. After baking until edges turned golden, cookies cooled before decorating. Royal icing was made from powdered sugar and egg whites, beaten until stiff. Mothers tinted portions with food coloring, then outlined and flooded each cookie with designs. Children watched with anticipation, sometimes allowed to add sprinkles. Decorated cookies were displayed on platters, almost too pretty to eat. They were packed into tins for gifts and saved for Christmas morning. Sugar cookies represented the artistic side of holiday baking, turning pantry staples into treasures, delighting children and adults. Popcorn balls were the sticky Christmas treats Black mothers shaped by hand during the 1950s, turning plain popcorn into festive confections. Popcorn was popped fresh, then kept warm while syrup was prepared. Sugar, corn syrup, and butter were boiled together, then poured over popcorn and stirred quickly. While still warm, mothers buttered their hands and shaped the mixture into balls, working fast before it hardened. The result was sweet, crunchy, and satisfying. Popcorn balls were wrapped in wax paper and tied with ribbon, given as gifts to neighbors and visitors. Children loved them because they were fun to eat and lasted through the holidays. The treats were inexpensive, stretching popcorn and sugar into abundance. Popcorn balls were Christmas joy shaped by loving hands. Apple stack cake was the towering Christmas dessert Black mothers in Appalachian-influenced communities built layer by layer during the 1950s. Thin cake layers were baked separately, each firm enough to support weight above. Between layers went spiced apple filling, made from dried apples rehydrated and cooked with sugar and cinnamon. The cake was assembled a day before serving, allowing moisture from filling to soften layers into perfection. The more layers, the more impressive the cake. Some mothers built stacks 6 layers high. The apple filling tied the cake to autumn harvest, while assembly made it a Christmas showpiece. Apple stack cake was brought to church, gatherings where it was admired before being sliced. It was tradition built 1 layer at a time. Sweet potato custard was the silky Christmas dessert Black mothers baked during the 1950s, a smoother cousin to beloved pie. Sweet potatoes were roasted and mashed smooth, then blended with eggs, sugar, cream, and spices. Baked in a water bath until set, the custard emerged with a delicate wobble promising creaminess. It was served chilled, each spoonful melting on the tongue. Some mothers topped it with whipped cream or nutmeg. Sweet potato custard was elegant enough for special occasions, but made from affordable ingredients. It offered a lighter alternative to pie while celebrating the same flavors. The custard proved sweet potatoes could become something refined and delicate, impressing guests who expected only traditional pie. Sorghum candy was the old-fashioned Christmas treat Black mothers made during the 1950s, using amber syrup that sweetened Southern kitchens for generations. Sorghum was boiled with butter until reaching hard crack stage, then poured onto greased surfaces to cool. Some mothers added pecans before the candy set. The flavor was distinct from sugar candy, carrying earthy, smoky undertones. The candy was broken into shards once cooled, each piece amber-colored and satisfyingly hard. Sorghum was cheaper than refined sugar in rural areas, making this candy traditional and practical. Children grew up with its unique taste, associating it with Christmas. Sorghum candy connected families to agricultural roots. It was sweetness drawn from the land. Chocolate fudge was the Christmas candy Black mothers made in large batches during the 1950s, filling plates with dark, rich squares. Sugar, cocoa, butter, and milk were combined in heavy pots and cooked to softball stage, stirring constantly. Vanilla was added after removing from heat, then the mixture was beaten until it lost its gloss. Poured into buttered pans and topped with pecans, the fudge set into firm squares that snapped when bitten. The texture was smooth and dense, melting slowly on the tongue. Fudge was temperamental, requiring attention. Mothers who mastered it earned reputations. The candy appeared on Christmas platters, was packed for gifts, and disappeared quickly. Chocolate fudge was indulgence made at home with patience. Lemon cheesecake was the old-fashioned Christmas dessert Black mothers baked during the 1950s, long before New York cheesecake became famous. This was not the dense cream cheese version, but a lighter cake with lemon curd filling between tender layers. The cake was baked in rounds, split and filled with homemade lemon cheese, a cooked mixture of eggs, sugar, butter, and lemon juice. Layers were stacked and covered with fluffy white frosting. The result balanced sweetness with citrus brightness, refreshing after heavy holiday meals. Mothers made lemon cheese from scratch, stirring until thickened. The cake was reserved for Christmas dinner. Lemon cheesecake offered Southern elegance, proving holiday desserts could be sophisticated. Red velvet cake was the stunning Christmas dessert Black mothers baked during the 1950s. Its dramatic crimson layers making it the star of holiday tables. The cake got its color from red food coloring mixed into cocoa-flavored batter. The texture was tender, with just a hint of chocolate flavor. Cream cheese frosting was spread thick between layers and over the exterior, its tanginess balancing sweetness. The contrast of red cake and white frosting was breathtaking when sliced. Red velvet required careful technique to achieve perfect color and crumb. Mothers made it for Christmas dinner and gatherings where they wanted to impress. Red velvet cake was Christmas magic made visible, a dessert that tasted as wonderful as it looked.
Buttermints were those smooth, creamy candies that melted on the tongue, their pastel colors filling cut glass dishes at every holiday gathering. The recipe combined butter, powdered sugar, and peppermint extract into a dough shaped into small pillows or pressed into molds. Professional versions used fondant, but home cooks adapted with cream cheese for easier handling. The candies needed to set overnight, their texture firming while remaining tender enough to dissolve slowly. Buttermints were considered refined candy, appropriate for wedding receptions and church teas as well as Christmas parties. They kept well in tins for holiday gift-giving. The pastel colors could match any decorating scheme, and creative cooks shaped them into trees, bells, or wreaths. Buttermints represented a gentler era when elegance mattered as much as sweetness.
Ambrosia salad, once a staple of festive gatherings, has seen its popularity wane due to its heavy reliance on canned fruits and marshmallows, clashing with modern dietary preferences that favor fresh, unprocessed ingredients. The advent of more sophisticated desserts and salads, which offer complex flavors and textures without excessive sweetness, also contributed to its decline. Additionally, the visual appeal of Ambrosia salad, with its mix of colorful fruits and marshmallows, no longer captivates in an era where aesthetics in food are increasingly valued but demand a more refined presentation. Despite this, Ambrosia salad's nostalgic value keeps it in the memories of those who grew up with it, suggesting a possible pathway for reinvention that aligns with contemporary tastes and health considerations.
Eco-conscious communities for its minimal environmental impact and allergen-free ingredients. You usually just sprinkle some powdered sugar on top, and it's good to go. The moist, rich chocolate taste makes it hard to believe it's made without any dairy or eggs. It's just a smart, tasty solution when you're short on supplies. Snowball cookies are these awesome little treats that are perfect for the holidays. They're a type of shortbread packed with nuts, like almonds or pecans, mixed into a buttery dough, then rolled in powdered sugar while they're still warm. They end up looking just like little snowballs, which is super cute around Christmas. These cookies are favorites because they're easy to make, delicious to eat, and perfect for sharing, which is probably why they show up at so many holiday parties. They're known by different names around the world, but no matter what you call them, they're a sweet tradition. The dough needs to chill to keep the cookies from spreading too much. Coconut bonbons were those snow-white confections appearing in Christmas candy assortments. Their creamy centers encased in shredded coconut that made them look like tiny snowballs. The centers were made from sweetened condensed milk mixed with powdered sugar and butter, flavored with vanilla or almond extract, then chilled until firm enough to shape. Each ball was rolled in flaked coconut, sometimes toasted for extra flavor, creating textural contrast between smooth interior and chewy exterior. Some families dipped bonbons in chocolate before the coconut coating, creating striped interiors when sliced. The candy was simple enough for children to help make, their small hands rolling sticky centers while adults managed the coating. Coconut bonbons kept well in refrigerators, making them ideal when candy dishes needed constant refilling. The flavor was pure, sweet comfort. Nothing sophisticated, just honest pleasure of coconut and cream. They've been replaced by commercial coconut candies that lack homemade tenderness. Peppermint bark layered dark and white chocolate with crushed candy canes into a festive treat that looked as beautiful as it tasted. Mothers would melt semi-sweet chocolate and spread it thin on waxed paper, letting it set until firm before adding a layer of white chocolate on top. While the white chocolate was still soft, crushed peppermint candy canes were pressed into the surface, their red and white stripes creating holiday color against the creamy background. Once fully hardened, the bark was broken into irregular shards that showed off the distinct layers. Each bite delivered the snap of tempered chocolate followed by cool peppermint that lingered on the tongue. Children loved the contrast of textures and flavors, the way the candy cane pieces crunched against smooth chocolate. Making bark required patience for proper tempering, but rewarded cooks with a candy that looked professional and tasted even better. It became a staple of cookie exchanges and holiday gift boxes, a treat that said Christmas without any words needed.
Tunnel of fudge cake stood out for its innovative use of a fudgy filling within a cake, capturing the hearts of many during the Pillsbury Bake-Off in 1966. Its decline in popularity can be traced to the evolution of dessert preferences towards lighter, less rich options. Additionally, the complexity of achieving the perfect gooey center without undercooking the rest of the cake presents a challenge for the average home baker, contributing to its waning presence in modern kitchens. As consumers have grown more health-conscious, the dense, calorie-laden nature of the cake further diminishes its appeal. However, the enduring love for chocolate and nostalgia for classic desserts offers an opportunity for Tunnel of Fudge Cake to be reinvented with healthier ingredients and simplified preparation techniques, showing through the cookies, making every bite a mix of creamy and crunchy. Divinity is this super fluffy cloud-like candy that popped up in the US early in the 20th century. It's mostly whipped up from egg whites, sugar, and corn syrup, and often you'll find nuts like pecans or walnuts thrown in for a nice crunch. Making Divinity can be tricky because humidity can totally mess with it, but when you get it right, it's like eating a sweet, airy piece of heaven. It got super popular around the holidays because it's a blast to make with family and tastes like a festive treat. Over time, though, as quicker, easier sweets came around, not as many folks made it from scratch. Sugar plums were those mysterious confections immortalized in holiday stories, yet few modern cooks could tell you what they actually were. Real sugar plums were handmade candies consisting of nuts or dried fruit coated in layer after layer of sugar syrup, each coat applied and dried before the next, until the center was encased in a smooth shell. The process took days of patient work, dipping and drying repeatedly, until the sugar plums reached proper size and glossy finish. Inside might be an almond, candied ginger, or a spiced prune, each variety a different flavor surprise. During the Victorian era and into the mid-20th century, confectioners made sugar plums in quantities for Christmas, selling them wrapped in tissue paper. The vision of sugar plums dancing required knowing what they were, jewel-like candies in pink, green, and white that caught light like precious stones. As commercial candy took over, the art of making sugar plums faded, leaving only the name behind. What was once a beloved confection became merely a word. The chocolate mayonnaise cake, a novel yet beloved dessert, makes ingenious use of mayonnaise to replace traditional fat components like butter or oil. This cake's recipe typically combines unsweetened cocoa powder, sugar, and flour with mayonnaise, which adds moisture and richness to the cake without imparting a mayonnaise flavor. First coming into prominence during World War II due to rationing, this cake remained popular into the 1980s for its moist texture and deep chocolate flavor. The preparation involves simple mixing techniques, with mayonnaise added to the wet ingredients before combining with the dry, creating a batter that is notably smooth and easy to work with. Moreover, food manufacturers began to market mayonnaise specifically for its use in cakes during this period, highlighting its ability to create exceptionally moist desserts. Butterscotch drops were the amber-colored candies that delivered rich, buttery sweetness in every slow-dissolving piece. Mothers cooked brown sugar, butter, and corn syrup together until the mixture reached hard crack stage, the butter creating a richness that plain sugar candy couldn't match. Dropped by spoonfuls onto greased baking sheets, each candy spread into a flat disc with slightly ruffled edges. The color ranged from pale gold to deep amber, depending on how long the sugar cooked, with darker candies carrying slightly caramelized, almost burnt notes. Children loved the way butterscotch melted slowly in their mouths, releasing waves of buttery flavor that seemed to last forever. Some mothers added a splash of vanilla or a pinch of salt to enhance the butterscotch taste. These candies were perfect for tucking into pockets and lunchboxes, hard enough to survive without melting or crumbling. Butterscotch drops represented simple candy making at its finest, requiring only basic ingredients and careful temperature control. Fruit and nut balls were those dense confections rolled in coconut or powdered sugar that appeared on every church cookie exchange plate during the holidays. The mixture combined ground-dried fruits, dates, figs, raisins, with chopped nuts and sometimes graham cracker crumbs, bound together with honey or corn syrup. No baking was required, making them perfect for busy December schedules when oven space was precious. The balls were rolled by hand, each one slightly different, then coated in coconut, powdered sugar, or finely chopped nuts.
The flavor was intensely fruity and sweet, concentrated enough that one or two satisfied. Children could help make them, their small hands perfect for rolling the sticky mixture into uniform spheres. Fruit and nut balls kept for weeks in tins, their flavors melding and improving over time. They represented the practical approach to holiday candy: wholesome ingredients, no special equipment, and results that looked impressive despite their simplicity.
Harvey Wallbanger cake, inspired by the cocktail, infused the dessert scene with a unique blend of orange, vodka, and Galliano, offering a spirited, tangy treat. Its decline can be attributed to changing tastes and the proliferation of desserts that incorporate a wider range of flavors and ingredients. The novelty of alcohol-infused cakes has expanded, making the Harvey Wallbanger cake less distinctive among desserts that feature more complex or exotic alcohol bases. Additionally, the shift towards more natural and health-conscious dessert options has led to a decreased interest in cakes heavily reliant on processed ingredients. Despite this, the cake's distinctive flavors and potential for reinterpretation with higher quality, less processed ingredients could revitalize its appeal in the context of modern culinary trends.
The 7-layer cake, or rainbow cake, impresses with its vibrant, multicolored appearance. Each of the 7 thin sponge layers dyed a different color and separated by a thin layer of chocolate or jam. Originating from Europe, this cake became popular in American bakeries, especially within Eastern European immigrant communities. The cake's preparation is meticulous, involving the precise measurement and coloring of batter for each layer, followed by careful baking to ensure each layer remains uniformly thin and moist. The 1980s saw advancements in food dye quality, which offered brighter, more fade-resistant colors, making the layers visually striking without affecting the flavor. The fillings between the layers also evolved during this time, with variations including apricot, raspberry, and even mint jams becoming popular. Flour and eggs, and sometimes jazzed up with lemon or vanilla. Depending on where you're at, they might toss in some dried fruits or nuts. In the southern US, they're more like soft, sweet cookies and aren't fancy at all. They became a staple because they're easy to make and just the thing for munching during a tea break or as a light dessert. Interestingly, variations of tea cakes can be found globally, with each region adding its local twist to the basic recipe. Normally, they're baked up small and round and dusted with a bit of powdered sugar. They're all about being understated but delicious, perfect for those moments when you want something sweet without making a big deal about it. Hawaiian Delight is all about those tropical vibes.
Dacquoise, distinguished by its layers of nut meringue and buttercream, has become a lesser-known dessert amid the rise of simpler, more casual sweets. The meticulous preparation required to achieve its delicate texture and the perceived richness of its fillings may deter those seeking quicker, lighter dessert options. Furthermore, the increased interest in gluten-free and health-conscious eating challenges the traditional Dacquoise, which is rich in sugars and fats. Yet its inherent elegance and the possibility of incorporating alternative, healthier ingredients suggest that Dacquoise could be rediscovered and appreciated by a new generation interested in sophisticated yet accessible baking projects.
Bourbon balls were the adult confection found on every Southern cookie tray, those no-bake treats that packed a spirited punch beneath their chocolate coating. The recipe was elegantly simple: crushed vanilla wafers mixed with cocoa, powdered sugar, corn syrup, and generous amounts of Kentucky bourbon, then rolled into balls and coated in powdered sugar or chocolate. No cooking was required, making them perfect for busy holiday schedules, though they needed days of aging for flavors to meld. The bourbon mellowed as the balls rested, transforming from harsh to smooth while permeating every bite with warm, oaky sweetness. Ladies made batches in their kitchens, storing them in tins between layers of waxed paper. The treats were not for children, though teenagers sometimes snuck them from platters. Bourbon balls represented a genteel form of indulgence, strong enough to notice but respectable enough for church socials. They've never entirely disappeared but are rarely made with the same generous pour. Down in Greensboro, North Carolina, Mrs. L.H. Wiggins came up with the hummingbird cake, which Southern Living magazine made famous in '78. This cake's got it all: bananas, pineapple, pecans, cinnamon, and it's topped with a killer cream cheese frosting that ties all those spicy and fruity flavors together. It became a big deal fast, thanks to its unique taste combo and the fact that it was pretty easy to make for any kind of get-together. Over time, though, as dessert trends evolved and global flavors took the spotlight, the hummingbird cake kind of drifted out of the mainstream. The cake is particularly beloved in the South, where it remains a celebrated part of regional culinary traditions. Typically, this cake was stacked up high in layers and generously slathered with frosting, making it a showstopper at parties.
Which forgotten Christmas treat would you bring back? Drop your favorite in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for more recipes from the past.